The Australian share market has fallen sharply in the first 40 minutes of trade. It comes after a weak performance on Wall Street overnight, affected by a number of things. The latest figures show that the US economy contracted by almost 33% in the June quarter on an annualised basis. That's the worst result on record. On top of that, an extra 1.4 million Americans filed for unemployment benefits last week. It's the 19th week in a row that the number of US workers applying for jobless claims have exceeded 1 million. Now, quarterly results show that some of the world's biggest tech firms are thriving during the coronavirus pandemic. Amazon sales soared by 40% in the 3 months ending in the June quarter, with Apple also reporting a surge in revenue driven by iPhone sales. The number of people on Facebook platforms, which include WhatsApp and Instagram, jumped by 15% in the last quarter. Now, these results come as US politicians investigate the market dominance of the tech giants. Meanwhile, quarterly sales at Google's parent company Alphabet have fallen for the first time in 16 years. Alphabet's overall second quarter revenue was $38.3 billion. Still very high, but down 2% from the same time last year. The internet giant has put the result down to a drop in advertising revenue, with big clients such as travel and hotel companies slashing their marketing budgets due to the pandemic. This morning, the All Ords and ASX 200 are down by 1.5%. Almost every sector is trading lower, with resources, energy and financials at the very bottom. AMP shares have plunged by more than 10%. That's after the company flagged its first half profit could plunge by more than 50% when its results are announced in mid-August. BlueScope Steel, Costa Group and South32 are also among the weakest performers. And shares in Super Retail Group have jumped as it's expecting to make a big full-year profit. And technology is the only sector trading higher, boosted by Afterpay. Overnight on US markets, the Dow Jones lost 226 points, or 0.9%. The S&P 500 was down by a modest 0.4%, while the NASDAQ was the only index which rose, up by 0.4%. Now, gold has slipped a bit, but still is trading around record levels at $1,959 an ounce. Oil has also fallen quite sharply, with West Texas crude buying just under $40 per barrel. But the Australian dollar is doing very well. It's pushed above 72 US cents, its highest level since February last year. So that's a 17-month high driven by a weaker US greenback.
Thanks, David. US space agency NASA has launched its latest mission to Mars from Cape Canaveral in Florida. The Perseverance rover is expected to reach the red planet in February and is designed to find evidence of life.
Ignition 2, 1, 0. And liftoff.
The start of a mission
launching the next generation of robotic explorers to the red planet
that could finally answer the big question: was there ever life on Mars?
And Atlas TU has gone to closed-loop control.
The rover is called Perseverance, and it's going to a region that was once covered by a lake.
We now know Mars had an enormous amount of water in its past. If ancient life was on Mars, we have a good bet that we might be able to find it in these sediments. So this is really a life detection mission.
This is the most advanced Mars rover that NASA's ever built. It's about the same size and weight as a small car, and it is jam-packed with instruments. This is its robotic arm, equipped with a drill, and it will take samples of rock that could contain signs of life. There's also an instrument that will try to make oxygen from the carbon dioxide-rich atmosphere, a vital technology for future astronauts on Mars. And for the first time, NASA will test a mini Mars helicopter that will try to fly in the extremely thin Martian air.
It's another pair of eyes from a totally different vantage point. Just being able to get to places that we simply can't get to today, right? Really sides of steep cliffs or very steep, crevasses, craters, places like that a rover just can't rove into. I mean, we're going to need to fly.
Another first for this mission is that the rock samples collected will be stored and eventually brought back to Earth, and some will head to the UK.
Hopefully in about 10 or 15 years, we'll get those rocks back from Mars. More missions will be sent to bring them back, and then we'll be actually able to study those pieces of Mars in laboratories on Earth.
NASA's spacecraft is the last of a trio heading to the red planet. China and the United Arab Emirates are already on their way. If they all succeed, it will mean a giant leap in our understanding of Mars.
Once a struggling artist battling to feed his family, Brett Mon Garling has become one of Australia's most sought-after sculptors. His work can be seen all over New South Wales. Landline's Sean Murphy caught up with Mon at his Dubbo studio.
My name's Brett Mon Garling. I live at Wongarbin, central west New South Wales, just outside of Dubbo. I'm probably better known as a sculptor, but I enjoy to paint as well. Sculpting's certainly my bread and butter, but there's nothing like a bit of variety in life. I come out and paint most mornings. It's a way for me to start the day in a nice, quiet, peaceful environment. But it also gets me away from the studio because 9 times out of 10, I'm in the studio or the foundry all day, every day, 7 days a week. So unless I get a bit of a sanity break to start my day, I'll go absolutely bonkers. I'm self-taught. I'm a self-taught sculptor. I guess learning's a funny thing. You know, you acquire knowledge all the time, you know, if you're open to learning. Mum was a painter and a potter. And so there's always access to clay and paint and pencils and all that sort of stuff. When I finished high school, I had every intention of getting into art school and turned up to interviews for art schools in the Sydney art schools, and none of them wanted me. If that burning desire is there, it's there. And I started going to exhibitions and meeting other artists and older guys who are now I consider probably my closest friends. And through their encouragement, really got back into it. Their encouragement was, don't worry about art schools, mate, just get out and do it. And that's pretty much my attitude now. Just do, don't think, just do. Right. If anything's going to go wrong, it'll go wrong at this point in time. Good. Right, go. Your heart's always pounding a little bit. I've been pouring my own work for 20 years and we never take it for granted. It can be dangerous. Can't be complacent. Mon's a nickname I got. It was actually a Catholic father gave me. He christened me Mon, the little monster of Lightning Ridge. I got that because I carried around a Hessian bag and I'd pick up dead animals, roadkill and wherever I found. I always had that fascination with anatomy, but it's a strange thing for a little kid to be doing, so I got known as the little monster. And that got shortened to Mon, and here I am, you know, 49 years old and still collecting dead animals.
The little monster of Lightning Ridge, love that. Another great story from Landline there. They're always shot so beautifully. And you can see Landline on Sunday at 12:30 on ABC TV or any time after that on iView. Paul Kennedy joins us now with a look at today's sport. Paul, g'day. First to rugby league, and the Rabbitohs showed really strong determination in that win over St George